Hello everyone. So last time we have started with crystal defects and we have completed the whole classification. So today we will see electrical properties of solids. Okay. So to start with the electrical properties of solids, they actually show a wide range of electrical conductivity. Okay, solids normally show a wide range of electrical conductivity. Therefore, they are classified into three categories. They are classified into how many categories? They are classified into three categories. Okay, so what are they? They are nothing but conductors, insulators and semiconductors. They are nothing but what? Conductors, insulators and semiconductors. Okay, now if the electrical conductivity is in the range of 10 raised to 4 to 10 raised to 7 ohm inverse meter inverse, then it comes under what? Conductors. Okay, the solids which will have electrical conductivity in the range of 10 raised to 4 to 10 raised to 7 ohm inverse meter inverse are nothing but said to be good conductors. Okay, now to understand about conductors, metals and electrolytes are the example of conductors. Now we know that when we say that it is a good conductor of electricity, so it can be basically because of the movement of ions or because of the movement of electrons. Okay, now if we say that metals and electrolytes are example of conductors, now in metals the electricity is passed because of the movement of electrons. Please understand, metals basically because of the movement of electrons, and electrolytes, as we all know, what do you mean by electrolytes? They are nothing but ions. Okay, electrolytes are nothing but any of the species when dissolved in water, if they readily forms ions, they are nothing but called as electrolytes. Okay, because of the formation of ions, what will happen? Electricity will be conducted. So electrolytes basically because of the movement of ions, the electricity is conducted. So hopefully conductors you understood. Okay, now the next one is insulators. Next one is what? Insulators. Now insulators are nothing but what? Comes in the range of, if the electrical conductivity is in the range of 10 raised to minus 20 to 10 raised to minus 10 ohm inverse meter inverse, then we say that solids are nothing but insulators. Now insulators are particularly non-metals or molecular solids. Normally they are bad conductor of electricity, that means they don't conduct electricity as such. Okay, so that is the range is very less over here. Okay, now the third category is semiconductors. Now what do you mean by semiconductors? They are nothing but in between conductors and insulators. They are in between conductors and insulators. Semiconductors are said to be insulators at low temperature. What are they? They are insulators at low temperature and conductors at high temperature. So please remember this thing. Okay, fine. So semiconductors are in between these two. So its range is nothing but electrical conductivity, its range will be 10 raised to minus 6 to 10 raised to 4 ohm inverse meter inverse. Then such kind of solids are referred as semiconductors, and the examples are nothing but the metalloids. Okay, like silicon, germanium. See, metals and non-metals. So in between, what is there? Metalloids are there. Therefore the properties are in between conductors and insulators over here. So hopefully the three categories you understood. Now next we'll, to understand electrical properties of solids, we have to learn band theory. What we have to understand? Band theory. Now what is this band theory? Okay, similar to as we have learnt about molecular orbital theory, where atomic orbitals of the elements when combined together, it will lead to molecular orbitals. Okay, that means different energy level, different molecular orbitals will be there. Okay, similar way band theory is also based on the energy levels. It is normally based on the energy levels. Now band is, what is band? Band is nothing but made of closely spaced electronic energy levels. Okay, band is nothing but, even if I say that we draw band as this thing, okay, this is nothing but we call it as band. Okay, but actually this is nothing but closely spaced energy levels. When we see, we call it as band. Okay, so hopefully you people understood this thing. Now to understand further, interaction of energy levels of electrons in the closely spaced, like interaction of atomic orbital in case of molecular orbital theory, will lead to the atomic orbital will lead to molecular orbital. Similarly, interaction of energy levels of electrons in the closely spaced constituent atoms in solids result in the formation of bands. That means if we take two atoms, just for example, if we take two atoms, they will be having some of the energy and they will be having electrons. Each of the electrons will be distributed in different energy levels. Hopefully you know 1s, 2s, like that. They are nothing but the energy levels. So they are distributed in different energy levels. Now when these two interact with each other, the electrons of the constant atoms interact with each other, they will lead to the formation of band. Okay, so we have to understand. So as a result, this formation of, there are two types of bands which are created. What are they? They are nothing but conduction band and valence band. Very important. When we learn about electrical properties of solids, we have to understand what do you mean by conduction band and what is valence band. Okay, so and one more important concept you have to remember is the band gap. Band gap. Okay, so first we will start with conduction band over here. Now conduction band is nothing but the highest energy band. Just remember that conduction band is a higher energy band, valence band is nothing but the lower energy band. Okay, and in between that, whatever the space is, to be very simple, in between whatever the space is, that is nothing but the band gap. Okay, so by keeping this in mind, we learn further. Okay, so highest energy level band containing electrons. Okay, and simply if the conduction band has some of the electrons, then we can say that it will conduct electricity. Okay, so the main criteria is like, if we want to say conductors, okay, they should have some electrons in that band. That means either by giving extra energy or something, if the electrons are able to enter this conduction band, then they will conduct electricity. So that is why we call the name as conduction band. Okay, now they are formed by interaction of the outermost energy levels of closely spaced atoms in solids. Okay, now you know what are the outermost, that means the valence shell as such. Okay, if that contains some of the electrons, we are mainly focusing on the valence shell of the atoms in solids over here. Now they can be partially occupied or vacant. Depending on that thing, we can say which type of property they will be having. Either they will be conductor, insulator or semiconductor, based on either it is occupied or vacant. Okay, now electrons in Cb is nothing but, just for simplicity I have written as Cb, that are nothing but conduction band. Valence bond will be referred as Vb over here. Okay, so electrons in Cb are mobile and delocalized of the entire solid, over the entire solid. Okay, obviously if there are electrons, what will happen? They are mobile, that means they are movable. Always remember, the positive charge cannot be moved, only the electrons can be moved. The electrons are the one which conduct electricity. Okay, so next is conduct electricity when electrical potential is applied. When there is a difference in electrical potential which is applied, then only what will happen? They will conduct electricity. So hopefully till here conduction band is understood. A conduction band, just remember, highest energy band, and they will be containing electrons. Okay, fine. Next is valence band. Now valence band, if conduction band is the highest energy, this will be the having the band which is having lower energy. Okay, it's referred to as the valence band. Electrons are not free to move in this band. Why they are not free to move? Because the electrons are bonded to the respective nuclei. That means they are inside. Okay, conduction band is the outermost shell which of the electrons which will be there, and inside, as it goes inside, what will happen? The interaction of the nuclei to the electron increases. As a result, what will happen? The electrons of the valence bond are actually tightly bonded to the respective nuclei. Okay. Now, what is band gap? As I told you before, they are nothing but what? The energy difference between valence bond and Cb is called band gap. Okay, the energy difference between valence bond and conduction bond is called as band gap. Okay. Now, what happens? This actually decides. It is a semiconductor or an insulator. Okay. Now, if the gap is very large, then it cannot promote electrons. Okay, it cannot promote electrons from the valence band to the conduction band. For example, if I say these are the two bands. Okay, if I say this thing is nothing but my conduction band and this thing is nothing but my valence band. Okay, now there are electrons over here. Okay, now if suppose I am giving energy, and if the electrons are able to promote from this to this, that means the gap is very less. That's the reason it can jump from valence bond to conduction band. Therefore, they can conduct electricity. But if it is like the conduction band and the valence band is separated by a large gap, then the electrons from the valence band cannot move towards the conduction band. At that time, this thing is called as the forbidden zone. That time it is referred to as the forbidden zone. Even after supplying thermal energy, if the electrons cannot move from the valence band to the conduction band, then this thing is said to be forbidden zone. Okay, so that is what it referred as. When band gap is too large to promote electrons from valence band to conduction band by thermal energy, it is called forbidden zone. When band gap is small, electrons from higher energy level in valence band, higher energy level, that does not mean conduction band, higher energy level. See, these are nothing but energy levels. Okay, so higher energy level of conduction band which can be promoted to conduction band by absorption of energy. They are okay. They are nothing but mainly it will be what, semiconductors that time. Okay, so hopefully till here you understood nicely. Okay, so next we will be seeing each of the electrical conductivities of metals, insulators and semiconductors, because to learn that we should know the concept of conduction band, valence band and band gap. Only after this we can learn the electrical properties of metals, this one, insulators and semiconductors. Okay. Now, to start with this thing, here they have written in your textbook as metals, but actually they are nothing but conductors only. They are nothing but, we are talking about what, conductors, because metals are said to be good conductors. Okay, so even if they are talking about conductors, insulators and semiconductors, we are talking about what, conductors, insulators and semiconductors. Okay, so metals are the example of conductors, good conductors of electricity. Okay, so we will learn further. Now, what we are actually learning over here, electrical properties of metallic conductors, insulators and semiconductors. Okay, based on band theory. Okay, fine. So, first one, when we start about conductors, are good conductors of electricity. Okay, when we say conductors, that means they are good conductors of electricity. Okay, now the outermost electrons of all the atoms in metallic crystal occupy conduction band over here. Okay, that means whatever I have drawn over here are nothing but what? The conduction band. They are nothing but what? Conduction band. Okay, now in this thing we can say that number of electrons in conduction band of metal is large. As I told you before, if there are electrons in the conduction band, that itself says that electricity will be conducted by that particular substance. Okay, so in conductors, normally in the conduction band there are nothing but what? Free electrons. Okay, now therefore it is described as, conductors are described as cations of metals are immersed in the sea of electron. There are many of the electrons which are free to move in conductors. Therefore they are said to be what? Cations of metals are immersed in the sea of electrons. Okay, now this conduction band over here is referred as overlapping bands or S bands. Why overlapping band? Now you know that some of the metals will be having S and P shell. Okay, now both the things, there will be electrons and they will be very close to each other, therefore they are overlapped. Therefore we call it as what? Overlapping bands or S and P band. These both are nothing but conduction band. Please refer, there is no valence band and conduction band over here. It is purely conduction band. Here down there will be nothing but the valence band, which will be already filled. Okay, so in this conductor, conductivity of metal decreases with increase in temperature. Please understand, the conductivity of metals decreases with increase in temperature. Now why it decreases? Now what will happen is the cations of metals occupies the lattice points. Okay, if I say this thing, they occupy some of the lattice point, it is fixed. Okay, now they will, when temperature is supplied to this thing, when temperature is supplied to conductors, what will happen? This, each of the constant atoms which is there in the lattice points will start to vibrate in its mean position. Okay, at higher temperatures metal will have increased vibrational motion. Okay, the flow of electrons therefore is interrupted by this increased vibrational motion. See, actually what will happen? The electrons will be continuously moving. When we are giving temperature, what will happen? Each of the electrons, whatever is there, will start to move in its mean position. As a result, the flow of electrons will be hindered that time. Okay, therefore we say that the conductivity of metals decreases with increase in temperature. Okay, so hopefully this thing is understood nicely. Conductors are nothing but good conductors of electricity. Normally here the electrons enters in the conduction band. Okay, and because of that thing they are said to be cations of metals immersed in the sea of electrons, and conductors of metals decreases with increase in temperature. That's the points you have to understand over here. Next we have to understand about insulators. Okay, now this thing is very simple. Insulators are bad conductors of electricity, simple as that. Insulators are bad conductors of electricity. That means, as we have studied, the gap between conduction band and valence band, the gap between conduction band and valence band will be large. Therefore the electrons from the valence band cannot be transferred to conduction band. If the electrons are not transferred, there are no electrons in the conduction band, then they are said to be a poor conductor of electricity. That means there is no movement of electrons in this case. Okay, so therefore they are said to be insulators. See, the valence band completely filled with electrons, they are completely filled with electrons, but the conduction band is empty. They are separated by a large energy gap, which is also called as what? Forbidden zone. Thermal energy is insufficient to promote electrons. Therefore conduction band is kept vacant. You can explain in your own words. Only thing is you just have to remember Insulators, just keep in mind, bad conductor of electricity. If it is bad conductor of electricity, that means the gap between CB and BB will be very large. If it is large, that means what? The electrons cannot be moved from the valence band to the conduction band. If there are no electrons in the conduction band, that means they cannot conduct electricity. Simple as that. Okay. Now, next thing we have to understand about semiconductors. Next important thing is we have to learn about semiconductors over here. Now, as I told you, semiconductors lie between conductors and insulators. Semiconductors lie between conductors and insulators. Now, what is that? Here, electrical conductivity is intermediate of metals and insulators, or also called as what? Conductors and insulators. They are nothing but conductors or insulators. Examples are nothing but metalloids, silicon, germanium, etc. are the examples. Like insulators, valence band same, see the figure is same, only thing is the cap is different over here. Okay, so valence band is completely filled, CB conduction band is empty, but what is the difference? The energy gap is smaller than insulator. Okay, the energy gap is smaller than insulator. Now what will happen when the temperature is supplied to a semiconductor or any of these, like for example silicon, germanium, like that, metalloids, what will happen? The electrons will get energy and this will try to jump to the conduction band. Since the gap is very less, it will be able, the electrons will be able to transfer from the valence band to conduction band. As a result, they will conduct electricity, and it is said that as the temperature increases, the conductivity also increases in case of semiconductors. Therefore, the statement we have told before, semiconductors are conductors at high temperature and at low temperature they are said to be insulators. Please do refer that. Okay, so we will just read whatever is written. When electrical potential is applied to semiconductor, it conducts a small amount of electricity. Pure semiconductors. Now, we have to understand there are two types of semiconductors. We have to understand there are two types of semiconductors. Now, what are they? Intrinsic semiconductor and extrinsic semiconductor. We will learn that thing into detail. Okay, so what are they? They are nothing but intrinsic semiconductors and extrinsic semiconductor. Pure semiconductor without any of the impurity in that thing are said to be nothing but what? Intrinsic semiconductor, that the conductivity will be very low but final electrical conductivity. That means there will be a particular amount of electricity which can be passed in intrinsic semiconductors, but it will be very low. Okay, so pure semiconductors are referred as intrinsic semiconductors. Okay, so hopefully till here you understood. Now, electrical conductivity of semiconductor increases with increasing temperature. We have already discussed this thing. Okay, semiconductors and insulators at low temperature and conductors at high temperature. Done. These 2 points we have already discussed. Now, next we have to understand about extrinsic semiconductors and doping. Okay, to understand about extrinsic semiconductors and doping. Okay, now the process of addition. Now, you know what is semiconductors. Okay, extrinsic means whenever some of the extrinsic semiconductors are the semiconductors whenever we are adding some of the impurity and it will conduct electricity, then it is said to be extrinsic semiconductors. Okay, so we have to understand a term called as doping. Okay, now the process of addition of minute quantity of impurity to semiconductor so that it will increase the conductivity is said to be nothing but doping. Doping is nothing but a process in which we add a minute quantity of impurity to a semiconductor to increase its conductivity. Okay, now whatever the impurity is added, that is referred as the dopant. Okay, so hopefully till here understood. Now, whenever I just say doped semiconductor, that means we are adding a impurity. Every time it will be not saying, we cannot mention impurities added. So, simply we will just say it's a doped semiconductor. That means electrical conductivity is due to the impurity what is present in the semiconductor. Okay, if it is called as doped semiconductor, that means it is nothing but an example of extrinsic semiconductor. Okay, so a doped semiconductor having higher conductivity than pure semiconductor is an extrinsic semiconductor. Okay, so two types, n type semiconductor and p type semiconductor. These are the types of extrinsic, remember. Okay, these are the types of extrinsic semiconductors. They are nothing but n type and p type semiconductors. So we learn what do you mean by n type and p type semiconductors. Okay, now it is very simple as such. Now to start with n type semiconductor, just remember n is negative and p is positive. Okay, n negative means it will refers to electron, n is, just for the understanding I am writing, n is negative, that means electrons. Okay, p is positive, just for your understanding, positive, and positive means nothing but whole. Just remember these two things, then it will be very easy for you to understand everything. Okay. Now in the first case, we will just learn the first case first. Okay. Now in n type semiconductors, it contains increased number of electrons in the conduction band. Okay, it will have increased number of electrons in the conduction band. Okay. Now it is obtained by adding 15 group element, that means group 15 element, to intrinsic semiconductor which belong to group 14. See, understand, if there is no impurity, it will be referred as pure semiconductor or intrinsic semiconductor. When we add impurity to the semiconductor, then it becomes extrinsic semiconductor. Okay. So first example is doping of silicon with phosphorus. Now silicon is a 14th group element and phosphorus is the 15th group element. Now why we are adding 15th group element in silicon? Now simple, if you write down 2, 8, 4, there are 4 electrons in the outermost shell of the silicon, and if we write down phosphorus 2, 8, 5, there are 5 electrons in the outermost shell of the phosphorus. So you can also write like 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, like that you can just write down. There also you will understand that 4 in silicon and 5 in phosphorus are there. Okay. Now when all the atoms are made of silicon, like silicon everywhere, if it is silicon, that means 4 bonds will be there. Okay, there are 4 bonds. Now for example of this thing, this is silicon, this is silicon. Okay, this is having 4 electrons, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and the neighboring atom is also having 4 electrons, so 1 electron will be shared from each of the 4 atoms there. Okay, so as a result the bonding is formed in silicon. Now what will happen over here is, when we introduce, that means one or two, many, just for understanding, if I am saying one of the silicon is replaced by the phosphorus atom. Okay, now here what will happen is, this phosphorus atom is having 5 electrons. Okay, so see, can you see the neighboring silicon atom is giving 1 electron. Red I have represented by a red dot, and blue is nothing but the electrons of phosphorus. Now 4 electrons is shared by the neighboring silicon atoms, but 1 electron is extra, so that is kept in between all the atoms. Okay, now this is nothing but can be referred to as the mobile electrons. That means these electrons are movable, this is free to move, that means they are not bonded to anyone. This electron is not bonded to anyone. As a result, when this will take the position of other electrons, as a result there will be movement of electrons in the crystal. As a result, it will be nothing but it will conduct electricity. So hopefully this thing is understood nicely. Okay, so for silicon and phosphorus. Okay, silicon 14 group, 15 group element is the impurity which is added. this will be having 5 electrons, this will be having 4 electrons, okay, in its outermost shell. Okay, now 4 electrons will be bonded to the phosphorus over here. Okay, fine. Now this phosphorus 4 electrons will be bonded to other neighboring atoms. One is extra, that is referred to as the mobile electrons, and because of that thing the electricity will be conducted. Okay, so just we'll read. Because the charge carriers are the increased number of electrons, silicon or germanium doped with 15 group elements, that is phosphorus, arsenic, antimony and bismuth. 15 group elements are nothing but phosphorus, arsenic, antimony and bismuth are referred to as the N-type semiconductors. They are referred to as the N-type semiconductors. Hopefully till here you understood nicely. Okay, now next we have to understand is a P-type semiconductor. Next we have to understand is a P-type semiconductor. Okay, if you understand this thing, it is very simple. Now when we want to add a extra electron, we introduced 15th group element. Now if I want to just decrease the number of electrons in the species, what I will be doing is I will be just introducing a 13 group element which will be having less of the electrons there. Okay, so produced by doping a pure semiconductor material, that is silicon or germanium, with an impurity of group 13 element. As a result, what will happen? A hole is created. That means one of the position there is no electrons. That means here I can say what is created, a hole is created. Okay, that means there is no electrons over there. Now what will happen over here, we will understand. Now when boron was introduced in the structure of silicon, what will happen? Boron atomic number 5, it is nothing but what, 2, 3, it will have 3 electrons in its outermost shell. These 3 electrons are shared by 3 silicon atoms. One of the silicon atom is sharing 1, but this boron is not having the 4th electron to be shared. As a result, a vacant position, nothing but the hole is created in the structure. As a result, what will happen? The other electrons will try to take its position because it is vacant. So as a result, we will see that the electrons are moving. We cannot see the electrons are moving in the structure, we can see the hole is moving, but actually the hole will not be moving because the electrons are jumping from one position to another. If it jumps from this position to this, so here I can see a hole. So we can see the movement of holes. Okay, please understand. Okay, so we will just learn what is written. Contain less number of valence electrons than that of the pure semiconductor. Example, doping of silicon with boron. Okay, because the charge carriers are holes which behave like positive charge, silicon and germanium doped with group 13 elements are referred to as P-type semiconductors. Group 13 elements are boron, gallium, indium and so on. Okay, fine. Hopefully till here you understood. Now we will just see that energy level diagram of conduction band and valence band. Okay, so by the diagram itself you might have understood what is happening over here. Valence band is there, conduction band is there. Okay, this thing is nothing but the band gap is there. Okay, now in N-type semiconductor extra electrons will be there. As a result, because of this thing there will be the electricity will be conducted. Okay, now in case of P-type semiconductor, the hole will be created. As a result, what will happen? The other electrons will try to occupy that hole. As a result, we can see movement of electrons over there, and there will be the semiconductor will conduct electricity. So hopefully this thing is cleared nicely. Okay, so we have today dealt with electrical properties of solid. There we understood conductors, insulators and semiconductors. In semiconductors we have learnt about intrinsic semiconductors and extrinsic semiconductors. In extrinsic semiconductors we have dealt with N-type semiconductor and P-type semiconductors. Okay, please understand, conductors are nothing but good conductors of electricity, insulators are bad conductors of electricity, and semiconductors, whenever we apply some temperature and all, and if the energy gap is less over there, we just have to understand the energy gap is less over there, as a result it can be conducted, the electricity can be conducted in case of semiconductors. Semiconductors are said to be insulators at low temperature and conductors at high temperature. These are all the points you just have to remember over here. Okay then, thank you.